All right, let's just get this started. Okay. I know I was going to upload a video. There was some technical difficulties, but you'll get a video. Hopefully, it helps out Crystal's situation, but I will be putting out a video hopefully this weekend. Okay. Hopefully before the 4th. Who knows? Maybe we'll get part 3 on the 4th of July. Maybe we'll get Reckless Ben part 3 on the 4th of July. Who knows? That'd be pretty epic. All right. Well, let's get this show on the road, okay, guys? Oh man, we're gonna go read as much as we can on the franchise agreement. Actually, I wanted to go over your scripture assembly. It's always good to see you in the chat. We're gonna go back reading the first right of refusal, the bona fide stuff, right? But I was saying before, anybody that comes in the chat, who knows? Maybe we'll get part 3 on the 4th of July. But regardless, I like the video I'm gonna put out later. I think it could shed or help a little bit Crystal's situation. It's nothing crazy. It's just my commentary, my perspective on some things. But yeah, it'll be good. But anyways, let's get the show on the road. The company's right of first refusal. If you or any of your owners desire to transfer the franchise for legal consideration, you or such owner must obtain a bona fide signed written offer from a qualified purchaser and must deliver immediately to us and complete an accurate copy of this offer. If the offerer proposes to buy any other property or rights from you or any of your owners or affiliates other than rights under area development agreement or rights to other franchise agreements for Bricks and Minifigs stores as a part of the bona fide offer, the proposal for this property or rights must be set forth in a separate contemporaneous offer that is fully disclosed to us, and the price and terms of purchase offered to you or your owners for the transfer of franchise must reflect the bona fide price offered therefore and may not reflect any value for any other property or rights. Again, this is pretty much like referencing the sale of your store, but they don't even let you get to this part. They have the first right of refusal, and then as soon as you contact them, they're gonna just terminate you. That's what they're gonna do. They're not gonna let you do any of this stuff. Okay, because even just by having a conversation with them about ideas, exchanging ideas, what to do for a sale, kiss that goodbye. As soon as they find out, you're gone. Okay, be funny. We got part 3 on the 3rd of July. You mean what? Today? We have the option exercisable by notice delivered to you or your owners within 30 days from the date of delivery of a complete and accurate copy of such offer to us, to purchase such interest for the price and on the terms and conditions contained in such offer, provided that we may substitute. Maybe this is where I messed up, that I didn't send them the offer first. Who knows? It's all legal bullcrap. We may substitute cash for any form of payment proposed in this offer. Our credit shall be deemed equal to the credit of any proposed purchaser, and we will have not less than 90 days from the option exercise date to consummate the transaction. We have the right to investigate and analyze the business, assets, and liabilities, and all other matters we deem necessary or desirable to make an informed investment decision with respect to the fairness of the terms of our right of first refusal. We may conduct such investigation and analysis in any manner we deem reasonably appropriate, and you and your owners must cooperate fully with us in connection therewith. So they are saying that, like, what, they want to give us monopoly money? Like, what does that mean? They don't have to, they could pay in whatever form they deem worthy? I'm being facetious, obviously. I don't know what they deem like. What, to me, other than cash, There's no way to purchase uh, a business back. Like, it's cash or nothing. If we exercise our option to purchase, we are entitled to purchase such interest subject to all representations and warranties, closing documents, releases, non-competition covenants, and indemnities we as reasonably may require, provided if we exercise our option as a result of a written offer reflected in a fully negotiated definitive agreement with the proposed purchaser, we will not be entitled to any additional representations, warranties, closing documents, or indemnities that will have a materially adverse effect on your rights and obligations under the definitive agreement. If we do not exercise our option to purchase, you or your owners may complete the sale to the offerer pursuant to and on the exact term of this offer, subject to our approval of the transfer as provided in section provided. Oh, they didn't even put it as private. Oh, provided in this section, provided that if the sale to this offerer is not completed within 90 days after delivery of this offer to us, or if there is a material change in the terms of the offer, you must promptly notify us, and we will have an additional option to purchase on the terms of the revised offer, if any, and otherwise as set forth herein. During the 30-day period following your notification of that expiration of the 90-day period, or the material change to the terms of the offer. Lego Cash, yeah, like what they're stating here is that you're supposed to inform them. That's it. You're supposed to inform them of what's going on, who's the potential buyer, who is gonna take over the spot if they decide not to. But like as we've seen, you can't even have a conversation with them. You can't even bring up that idea, or you're gonna get completely screwed. It ain't gonna happen. You are freaking done for. All this is pretty much worthless. All right, like you saw even with the Messers who were just like on a month-to-month basis because they finished their franchise agreement, and they were gonna send them a termination letter so that they don't have to do anything else. Like they want to take over their spot. Effect of consent to assignment. The company's consent to an assignment of the franchise or any interest subject to the restriction of this section shall not constitute a waiver of any claims it may have against the assigner, nor shall it be deemed a waiver of the company's right to demand exact compliance with any of the terms or conditions of the franchise by the assignee, nor a representation as to the fairness of the terms of any agreement or arrangement between you and the transferee, or as to the prospects of success of the Bricks and Minifigs stores by the transferee. Any approval shall apply only to the specific transfer of the franchise being proposed and shall not constitute approval of or have any bearing on any other proposed transfer of the franchise. Termination. Immediate termination. Spirit Warrior is in the chat. What is going on? Did you have any lawyers look over this before you signed up, or just do you best to understand it on your own? I don't think I could absorb all that legalese. I don't know if you asked this before, or maybe it was someone else. No, I had lawyers look it up. I even negotiated terms of the contract. Yeah, like remember, mine is 85 pages. Like, we're almost done. We're in slide 35, and it's actually less than 85 pages because like there's a bunch of like state stuff, and some of them are the table of contents. So mine was vague enough that like I had room. That's what a lot of lawyers would tell me. They're like I had multiple lawyers, so it wasn't just like, oh, I signed it and it was great. Like the the language was vague enough that like I would be able to fight it and things like that if there was any criminality involved. But again, the only way to fight something is if you have money. If you don't have money, as they took all my money, you can't fight them no more. Total AFOL, man. Brother. So criminal acts only apply to the franchisees, I guess. Yeah. Um, it's I don't know how to put it. Like, by the way, Total AFall, been loving your videos. I did check them out. Like the first time I clicked on one of your videos, I was like, "Oh, that's a whole lot of face right up on me." But it was all your videos are great, dude. Like, keep it up. No, have not asked before or heard that asked. I figured you did have lawyers, but it still sounds like a lot to understand and enough holes to get everyone in trouble. Yeah, so the language of the contract, how it goes is like it's all protective stuff for Bricks and Minifigs. It's all protective. You know, we're going right now through the first right of refusal, the termination, how they conduct a sale, right? But as you know from my experience, you got Crystal's experience, that as soon as you mention that you're gonna sell it, all this stuff means nothing. This all goes out the window. Because as soon as you contact Bricks and Minifigs, they are going to send in a secret shopper, Brandon. They're going to do something where they don't have to pay you and then just send you a termination letter where you're just screwed. Like they try to do with the messers. And again, if you look at my, like remember the messers are the only ones that were able to beat Bricks and Minifigs. They had 2 stores in California, if you guys don't know the story. And I was able to prove that they just copy and paste or they have a template because my termination letter is like entitled to Dear Mr. and Mrs. Messer, and then it goes into my stuff. So in my opinion, it's probably that they didn't get the termination letter to them in time, and they completed their franchise agreement. They were on a month-to-month basis. They did the whole years that they signed, and even then, when they're like, we want out, Bricks and Minifigs was setting up a termination letter so that they could just take over their spot. Yo, Nicholas Allard hitting it and quitting it with a 10. Thank you for coming in. And then AFK Anthem, Crystal's franchise agreement was much longer, right? Not well, yeah, okay. I was thinking of termination letter. Hers is 350 pages. Mine's 85. So obviously they were doing a bunch of stuff to protect themselves, like over time. And I don't know if there's I might be wrong in the 350, but I know it's more than like 150. Maybe it was like another franchise agreement that I heard, but it's from what I hear is that a lot, like some people got all the way up to close to 400 pages of the franchise agreement. And I don't know if because that's like a state thing or whatever, but it's gotten much bigger, right? 300 pages got that wrong. Yeah. But yes, yeah, no problem, Total AFall. Like, by the way, anybody that comes in the chat, go check out Total AFall's channel. After here, stay here. They're awesome. He's doing a good job. He's one of the YouTubers that deal with Lego and actually has a spine. Not like, your big YouTubers that aren't covering this story at all, which is insane to me. But yo, Central Florida, there are some FDD that are crazy high for BAM. Yep. You forgot to say please. Okay, please, your scripture. Come on, man. Termination. So let's get into the termination. Immediate termination. You are in material breach and deemed to be in default of this agreement, and this agreement will automatically terminate without notice at our discretion if any of the following events occur. Remember, my termination agreement, they manipulated me into making it fit because you have to have 3 things for it to be terminated. And the third thing was like multiple breaches. So that third one is just stating multiple breaches, so it's considered a breach because it was more than one. So as soon as you breach one, you automatically have 2. From what I could tell. Criminal acts, the conviction of entry of a guilty plea or no contest to charges involving fraudulent conduct or felony or misdemeanor involving moral turpitude by either franchisee or a principal of the franchise. Fine. That makes sense. Insolvency, you file a petition in bankruptcy or for recognition or for an arrangement pursuant to any federal or state bankruptcy law or any similar federal or state law, or are adjusted a bankrupt or make an assignment for the benefit of creditors or admit in writing your inability to pay your debts generally as they become due, or if a petition or answer proposing the adjunction of you as a bankrupt or reorganization pursuant to any federal or state bankruptcy law or any similar federal or state law is filed in any court and you consent to or acquiesce in the filing thereof, or this petition or answer is not discharged or denied within 30 days after the occurrence of any of the foregoing, or if a receiver, trustee, or liquidator of you or of all substantially all of your assets or your interest in this agreement is appointed in any proceeding brought by you, or if any such receiver, trustee, or liquidator appointed in any proceeding brought against you, and it is not discharged within 30 days after the occurrence thereof, or you consent to or acquire in this appointment any such event described in the section being referred to as insolvency event, or if you request the appointment of a receiver or make a general assignment for the benefit of creditors, or if your bank accounts, property, or accounts receivable are attached or signing is levied against your business or property. Okay, so pretty much saying like you file bankruptcy, we're taking the store. Cool. But when you file bankruptcy, usually you're going to file Chapter 11 for a restructuring, and then from there you can liquidate and just shut the place down. So you terminate it before, and usually depending on the bankruptcy, like they can't really come after you if you file bankruptcy. It's one of the things that like I knew I could have done if I was like, I just want the money, F this company. But I called in good faith and they still screwed me over super freaking hard. But yeah. Unauthorized transfer. A transfer occurs in violation of the provisions in Section 13. Misstatements and other adverse developments. You, or if you are an entity, any entity owner of you, have made any material misrepresentation or omission in your application for the rights conferred by this agreement, are convicted by a trial court of, or plead no contest to, a felony or to any other crime or offense that may be adversely affect the goodwill associated with the marks, or if you engage in any conduct which may adversely affect the reputation of any Bricks and Minifigs stores or the goodwill associated with the marks. That makes sense. Will you make this file accessible after you get done? I probably will. I was informed to not do that. But not that I have a lawyer or anything, but there was some people that were I won't say if they were law tubers or not, that were kind of like letting me know, sharing this file, like how it could be, somebody could manipulate it or things like that. So it's one of the reasons why like I'm putting it out on my stream just in case, and there's a bunch of other stuff, but they can react, they can go over it, they can not even react to my video, just like paste page by page if they want to, or if we come to some agreement, I will like share it with another YouTuber who's credible. That like there's a lot to think about than just like putting it out. All right, Relic, my brother from another, welcome in. Zip. I'm gonna call you Zip. And did we cover BJC Live being shut down during live stream today? Did she actually get? So I was in the chat in the beginning of the stream, but I didn't know she got shut down again. Because I guess her live stream got shut down the other day, and then a video was deleted. I had 2 videos deleted on my account as soon as I was monetized. But I don't know. Like, her coverage is awesome, and I don't see. Okay, sometimes I don't think she has any moderators. So sometimes they're like, if I know that YouTube could take down a chat because of the take down a live stream because of the chat, they might be saying crazy stuff there. But I don't know. Like that's insane. Like I I know Echo Base has reached out to her. I would say if they know about the situation, they'll probably ask her, and maybe she could come on their channel, and but before she because when something's taken down, there's also the possibility of a copyright or even a strike on the channel of like multiple stuff. And she's a lawyer, so she probably knows how to combat it. But still, it's a headache, and it could be an issue. Morality clause that can sometimes be loosely interpreted in some cases, but it sounds like this is more specific in what causes an issue. It is and it isn't. It's a lot of back and forth to cover all the details, but it still leaves it open to how they can interpret what causes an issue. Okay. Yep, I think we said pew pew too much. Oh yeah. She did, but the call is back up with Dan McNeff. Ah. And look, I've been trying to tell you guys, like, as much as you think the McNeff brothers are freaking terrible, their dad, he knows how to manipulate the law way more, and he's worse because all the things he's done, he's never been in jail. We're talking about nail guns. Yes. It may have been a bot that picked up on her reading on address, something like that. Needs a human to verify. Okay. Yeah. Since you're getting big, one of my old channels, I was getting trolls, and on Twitch I got trolls. Yeah. I think I'm gonna get more soon. I want to talk to other YouTubers about it, but let's get back into the franchise agreement. Unauthorized use of marks, confidential information. You make any unauthorized use of the marks or any unauthorized use or disclosure of confidential information. Abandonment. You abandon or fail actively to operate your store for 5 consecutive days unless your store has been closed for a purpose approved in advance by us in writing or because of fire, flood, or other casualty or government order. Through disqualification, attends the initial franchise training program, and franchisor determines in its sole discretion, which does happen, that the franchisee, managing partner, or shareholder has failed the initial training program and is deemed not qualified to manage a Bricks and Minifigs business. So it could be like, oh, you don't have the business sense, or you don't really fit our mold, which apparently you have to be dishonest. Whatever it may be. And then usually a real franchise will have a list of people who have the capital, went to discovery days, went to meet the owners and the franchisors, and either they backed out or they didn't approve them, but they might have the capital, which was one of the things I asked for when they didn't allow me to bring on an investor. I said, well, can you give me a list of people you guys have approved that maybe were too scared or couldn't run the risk or didn't understand it well enough to actually invest, but they would be okay with a partner, and then I would bring them on, and as a silent partner, use that money to do a massive marketing campaign, and boom, we're making a ton more money than we're making right now. I want it to be $1 million store, but they never even provided that to me. Failure to secure a site. You are unable to secure a site pursuant to the requirements of this agreement for your store within 12 months from the execution of this agreement. This is common in every single franchise. You have 12 months. As soon as you sign a franchise agreement and then pay the fee that most franchises are anywhere from $5,000 to $75,000 to have a franchise agreement. And then you kind of have to solidify a territory, and then within 12 months you have to have a lease or a property that they approve. Breach of lease, loss of rights of possession. You are in breach of any of your obligations under your lease or sublease of the accepted location. You lose the right to possession of the accepted location. This is one of the ones that they used on me, which was false. Failure to comply with system standards. You fail or refuse to comply with the system standards relating to operations of the store in a manner that presents an imminent safety, health, or environmental hazard to customers, or violates any laws, ordinances, or regulations, or you operate the store, including any vehicles, in unsafe manner, and fail to cure such default within 72 hours of receiving written notice of such violations. Understatements of gross revenues. You understate your store's gross revenue in any report or financial statement by an amount greater than 3%. That's pretty much just reporting false numbers. So, failure to make payments. You or any affiliates fail to make payments when, and this is the other one they got me for, which again wasn't true. You or any of your affiliates fail to make payments when due, or any amounts due to us or our affiliates under this agreement or any other agreement with us or our affiliates. Failure to pay taxes. You fail to pay any federal or state income, sales, or other taxes due with respect to your store's operations unless you are in good faith contesting your liability for the taxes. Repeated breaches. And this is the other one they got me with. So I had two, and then they slap repeated breaches so that if it was up their contract where it's like 3, you have to have 3 for them to terminate you. So they threw in the repeated breaches just to make sure that as soon as you have more than one, you're already screwed. You fail on 2 or more separate occasions with any period of 12 consecutive months, or on 3 occasions during the term of this agreement. And if you look at Crystal's termination agreement, this is one of them too. This agreement, or submit when due reports or other data, information, or supporting records to pay when due the royalty fees or other payments due to us or our affiliates, or otherwise fail to comply with this agreement, whether or not the failures to comply are corrected after notice thereof is delivered to you. Financing defaults. Your default with respect to any of your obligations to us or any other lender under any financing provided to you in connection with this franchise agreement or a purchase of store assets. I think they also use this one against Crystal, but I can't be too sure. Default in any other agreements. You default in the performance or observation of any of your obligations under any other agreement with us or affiliates. The apples don't fall far from the tree. Don't. Possibly spirit, but think it was a gun language and address statement. Yeah, probably. That's the JC, or sorry, what's the? I forgot her name. It's late, people. So thank you for being here. By the way, I know it's late. I appreciate you guys. And steal from old people. Yes. Anyone seeing the new independent franchise ads on Facebook stores getting mauled? Comment section. Word. All right. Yo, the Thug Light is up in here. It's good to see you, Thug Light. It's good to see you. All right. Eric, good point. Wasn't during the address part. All right, cool. Let's get more foreclosure. Foreclosure. A suit is filed to foreclose on any lien or mortgage against any of your assets, and this suit is not dismissed within 30 days. Okay? This one is kind of weird because if you don't own it, and let's say there was, like, the landlord wasn't making his payments, and then all of a sudden, and never informed the tenants, all of a sudden, like, it's foreclosed on. Boom. Everything's barred up, whatever. This one's kind of a hard one to get through. Because, again, you can make, when you pay rent, you're paying to the landlord, and then the landlord, if he has a bank loan or whatever, he has to pay his monthly fee. And that happened a lot during any sort of real estate crash. Is like they keep borrowing money, landlords keep borrowing money, they take money from the tenants, but then they never actually take the percentage that they need to put back into the loan to complete their loan. So this is one that, like, it's kind of hard to get dismissed within 30 days unless you own the property, and that's where, like, things could get slightly easier, but whatever. Corporate or partnership dissolution. You voluntarily dissolve or liquidate or have a petition filed for corporate or partnership dissolution, and this petition is not dismissed within 30 days. Anti-terrorism laws. You are otherwise in violation of any of the anti-terrorism laws. Pretty self-explanatory. So, other conduct engages in any other activity or conduct that has material adverse effect on franchisor, the marks, or franchisor's reputation. You expressly waive all rights under the provisions of the bankruptcy or other applicable laws and rules and consent to the immediate termination of this agreement as provided herein. You agree not to seek an order from any court, tribunal, or agency in any jurisdiction relating to bankruptcy, insolvency, reorganization, or any similar proceeding that would have the effect of staying or enjoining this provision. This is one. Oh, yo, Stan Lex, comment allez-vous? This is a beautiful Frenchman. You owe us the amount of stocks. Yeah, yeah. It's good to see you, man. So in this like other conduct, again, one of the reasons for first right of refusal is because if you have a franchise company and one actually shuts down and doesn't move, it just shuts down, it looks bad on paper. It looks bad that like the franchisor would what's it called? Like they're like incompetent or they don't have a good structure to keep things alive, and so it's better to get rid of bad owners, take it over as a corporate, and either sell to somebody else or move the location, but not have it shut down. But for some reason, they shut down my location, and I believe Crystal's location still says temporarily shut down, not permanently. That if one of you guys know about it being permanently shut down, you let me know. But from last time I checked, it was only temporarily. Cannot turn brick into a non-physical. Oops. Yup. Notice of termination. In addition to our right to terminate pursuant to other provisions of this agreement and under applicable law, we have the right to terminate this agreement effective upon 30 days after delivery of a notice of termination specifying any of the following breaches or defaults by you if it remains uncured at the end of the 30-day period. Fail to open your store and start business as provided in section 4C and 4E. Surrender or transfer control of the operation of your store without prior written consent. Make any material misstatement or omission in the personal profile, the ADA application, or in any other information, report, or summary provided to us at any time. Suffer cancellation or termination of the lease or sublease for your store. Are convicted of or plead no contest to a felony or other crime or offense that we reasonably believe may adversely affect the system standards or the goodwill associated with the marks. Make any unauthorized use or disclosure of any confidential information or use duplicate or disclosure any portion of the operations manual in violation of this agreement. The operations manual is very important. If anybody can get a hold of that, boom. Yo, we got a man right up in here. We got the man himself. Michael. Sounds like they targeted struggling franchisees, not banned franchisees. Yep. And I wasn't even struggling. I was like worried because of natural disasters, and like I wanted a huge marketing campaign. It was insane that they didn't let me have that, and they never gave me the list of people that came through Bricks and Minifigs that decided not to partner up or didn't have enough capital but had enough capital to be an investor. Yeah, they screwed me. But they also screwed Brian and Crystal. And that's the point of this. Let's help these people out. Let's do this. Fail or refuse to comply with any blah, 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 blah. So remember, the operations manual, somebody gets a hold of that. A lot of important stuff. Because as you guys saw in the first, if you guys came in the first stream, pause, consignment is in the first paragraph. It's consignment services. And Crystal, did the consignment services exactly as it states, where she created an event and a marketing campaign that Bricks Minifigs was aware of, and then continued the consignment And I'm guessing Bricks Minifigs was aware of that as well and never contested it. Even when Brandon came, he never contested it. Even Brandon didn't contest it when their loser boy on the phone said that like it's a business thing, they'll just take that over. So regardless where the consignment is practiced or not practiced, since they didn't contest it, my belief is that they took over that consignment. So, and then in the operations manual, it does say we don't practice consignment. We don't do like pawn like business, all that stuff. But then again, everything's negotiable. It's business. Everything's negotiable. So my guys usually hit hardest the one weekend already. Yep. Then Goon, Booze, JJ, Come Bare Feet, and No IQ 2 Ram at Hayes. Yeah. So, did you watch the BJ Live show about Dan McNeff and the case of the BB gun from the Mountaintop Theory? I got the beginning. I didn't get to watch all of it. I believe I had to go to work. Sheldon, if cops had your phone, they are famous for adding spyware to ongoing cases. Warrington might have included it. I'll let him know just to make sure that he's all right. Like maybe he should get it checked out. Get a new phone. I mean, one arcade game doesn't make enough money. I'll give you 3. But yeah. BJC was shut down. That was a crazy chat, bro. Yeah, need more mods. But her streams, it was great. Yeah, I was there for both her streams. Yeah, her streams were great. I was in the chat. I was saying hello. Delivered to you. Fail or refuse to comply with any mandatory specification, standard, or operating procedure prescribed by us relating to the cleanliness or sanitation of your store, or violate any health, safety, or sanitation law, ordinance, or regulation that we reasonably believe may pose harm to the public or to you or our reputation, and do not correct this failure, refusal, or violation within 24 hours after written notice thereof is delivered to you. Fail to report accurately gross revenues to establish, maintain, and or have sufficient funds available in the designated account as required by Section 3D and 3E of this agreement, or to make payments of any amounts due us or any of our affiliates, and do not correct the failure within 10 days after written notice of this failure is delivered to you. Spineless Ben gave his phone undressed, no undies, nothing. We cover that on the toy bounty hunter channel. Dude, Spineless Ben is a dick. He just gave all the information. Like he gave the American Fort Police Department Ben's phone number. He gave them so much stuff that he should have never said. He lied to the cops, and a pathetic individual. Just pussy boy. Yeah. Question about the franchise agreement. By the way, in a disguise. Welcome. Question about the franchise agreement. What fines can they inflict on you? You want to retype that? Because I don't know. Did you have a stroke? I don't know what you mean, brother. What sort of fines can they inflict on you? So one of the fines that they want inflicted on me, or fines, was that they came up with a number of the smallest amount, or how much they possibly would have got from me out of royalties if I remained this many years left on the contract. And then they put that as a fine. So they could fine you. They could fine you for not having your numbers correctly. They could fine you if you didn't report the gross numbers correctly. They could fine you if you're late in royalties. They could fine you for a bunch of things. Any franchise, there's a bunch of things that they could fine you for. You know, like having things out of place, having a dirty store, having, not complying with the state laws or regulations in terms of food, creating events, parties. There's a lot of things they could fine you for. But fail to make timely payment of any amount due, they could fine you for not making timely payments, including to your landlord. Amount due to supplier, and the supplier is a big one too, with us, other than payments which are subject to bona fide dispute, and do not correct this failure within 30 days after we deliver you notice of this failure to comply. Fail to comply with any other provision of this agreement or any other mandatory specification, system standards, or operating procedure or other obligation that we periodically prescribe in the operations manual, and do not correct this failure within 30 days after notice of this failure to comply is delivered to you, or fail on 3 or more separate occasions within any period of 12 consecutive months to submit when the due reports or other data, information, or supporting records, or to pay when due royalties. This is the one they got me with, I believe. Advertising fund contributions or other payments due us, any of our affiliates, or any unaffiliated suppliers, or otherwise fail to comply with this agreement or any mandatory specification, standards, or operating procedure or other obligation that we periodically prescribe in the operations manual, whether or not this failure is corrected after a notice is delivered to you. Lose the right to possession of the accepted location, or otherwise forfeit the right to do or transact business in the jurisdiction where the store is located, and do not correct this failure within 10 days after written notice of this failure is delivered to you. Deny us the right to inspect, examine, or audit your store and your store's books, and do not correct this failure within 10 days after written notice of this failure is delivered to you. Fail to submit any financial statement or report when required, or your submission is incorrect or incomplete, and do not correct this failure within 10 days after written notice of this failure is delivered to you. Fail to pay any federal, state, income, sales, or other taxes due on your store's operations unless you are in good faith contesting liability for these taxes, and do not correct this failure within 10 days after written notice of this failure is delivered to you. Violate any federal labor laws and do not correct this failure within 10 days after written notice of this failure is delivered to you. Fail to commence repair or restoration of your store after damage or destruction as provided in Section 8A, or fail to insure the store as provided in Section 8G, and do not correct this failure within 30 days after written notice of this failure is delivered to you. Fail to commence or fail to comply within the term covenants in Section 9B of this agreement, fail to obtain signing of this covenants required under the section, or fail to comply with a confidentiality non-competition agreement found in Schedule 5, and do not correct this failure within 10 days after written notice of this failure is delivered to you, and fail to notify us of your operation partner, store manager, or assistant manager's termination, and or fail to hire or select a successor operating partner who satisfy the requirements provided for in Section 7C will be considered as a breach of this agreement. The franchise or any owner of greater than 10% of the franchise entity or operator is convicted of a crime involving fraud, a crime involving moral turpitude, ironic, or any crime or offense that is reasonably likely, in the reasonable opinion of the franchisor, to materially and unfavorably affect the system, the mark's franchisor, or the system's goodwill, or franchisors to the system's reputation. We have no obligation whatsoever to refund any portion of the franchise fee upon any termination. All right. Back to the chat. Ooh, yeah, he folded like a pancake. Question about the franchise agreement. Yep. Why would Emmett want to get rid of you? You seem like someone's best franchisor. That's the thing I don't understand. Like, I'm trying to, till this day, I'm trying to figure out like why they did all this, because I gotten letters from them from, like, I took a store that only made, the most it ever made was like 40,000 in 1 month. The next year I got the sales up to $80,000 in that month, and we had solid increase. I gotten letters congratulating me from Matt and Hammond. I didn't go to, like, all the owner meetup because I was pretty busy, and a bunch of franchisees called me wanting to know, like, how I did it and how I got things to increase, because they mentioned my store specifically during their training to the other franchisees. And then I told you guys about the whole Big Mac thing, where when some corporate wrote a recommendation letter for me to get to the landlord of this new location that I was the Big Mac to their McDonald's. I was the Big Mac, man. So like we didn't do as well in the new location, but we still did better in sales than we ever that remember this store had like 8-9 years of life, right? We still did better that year than we ever did prior to me coming in as a part of Bricks and Minifigs. So it just didn't make sense. And you know, like I told you guys, like I hung out with these guys. I played Halo with them. Like Matt McNeff speaks Portuguese. I spoke Portuguese with him. You know, like a lot of things that we were, like I felt like we were more than just business partners. We were friends, right? And they do that. So I don't really know why they just got rid of me like that. I could probably say like it has a lot to do with Josh and Brandon, but again, they're the ones that sent me the termination letter. They're not the ones. They didn't talk to me about making a sale. You know, they didn't let me bring on investors, stuff like that. And Nick from EBN is up in here. What's up? Just got work and I'm going to listen while I'm at the gym. Dude, get after it. Hopefully I don't put you to sleep because this stuff sucks. Black beanie guy sitting in a car saying he's waiting for a date. Yeah, that's Spineless Ben. That's really terrible. Just steal your inventory. Yeah. Oh, by the way, it's not only steal my inventory while they were running the store and I was employed there. Anytime we got a really good trade, we had to send it to the Eugene location. They would call the next day, and we had to take it to UPS or FedEx. Yeah. The date okay was the plan. After then, it's just dumb. No, okay. If they get removed, would you go back to work for BAM? No. That's the thing. They can't be removed unless they remove themselves. They have to sell the company if they don't want to be a part of it. They own it. The McNeffs own the Bricks and Minifigs. It's not a publicly traded company. It's a private company. So yeah, no, and yeah, I wouldn't do that. Funny enough, I got offered a few times while I was with Bricks and Minifigs to leave Bricks and Minifigs and help open a certain store's second location or somebody's first location. But I just gave them ideas and I let them tour the store. I sold them product. And one guy said that like his inspiration of opening his own store came from shopping at my store. And he opened one, I think, like 2 hours away from the Tampa area. So I still need to go like visit him. Cool dude. Mormons eat bricks before heaven. It's like the BAM name is compromised. Yeah. It may, and again, in the contract, if you guys didn't follow, I think either yesterday's stream or the day before, or I mean part 3 or part 4, I believe in one of those live streams, there's a part, and it's common in franchise companies to have this. There's a part in the contract that states that the company, Bricks and Minifigs, can own a other company that's the exact model of Bricks and Minifigs that does buy and resell Lego. So my theory is if Bricks and Minifigs goes under, it doesn't matter to them. They can just change the brand because they have this other company. They may or may not have the company, but if they have this other company, they just change the brand name, rebrand it, operate exactly like a Bricks and Minifigs, and we wouldn't know. They would just change it. Redzutsu is here. Redzutsu Ronin. Do you regret not taking the opportunity to leave Bricks and Minifigs to start that company's second location? No, because at the time, like I thought we were all cool, and I was doing a lot of good for the community. I don't regret it at all. You know, like it sucks to know that I trusted in the wrong people, but yeah, I don't regret. Like with everything I went through, right now I'm talking to you guys. Right now I get to help somebody good that is being screwed over by bad guys. So that's like one of the greatest things to do in life is help out somebody who's struggling, help out like your fellow man, the person that's next to you. You know, be a voice. Like even if you don't think you have any power, still stand up to bullies. And so it sucks what I went through. Like it, man, like freaking shook my trust a lot, damaged me quite a bit, it traumatized me in some ways, but no regrets. I'm happy. I'm doing YouTube and working hard and getting to meet all of you guys. Bam equals boycott Emin McNeff. That's pretty good. That's pretty good, bro. In this, guys, they've been known to switch LLC numbers. Would not be surprised that they have secondary names already registered. They can quickly switch to. Yeah, they can, and they could sell, but they still would have. They can sell shares of their company. Selling shares is just like pieces of ownership. So then they could remove themselves, but they're still acting behind the scenes. It's like being in a bad marriage. Yeah. Never to refund any portion of the franchise. All right. Rights and obligation of the company and franchisee upon termination or expiration of the franchise. Revision of rights. Ladies and gentlemen, you agree that upon termination or expiration of this agreement, all of your rights to use the mark and all other rights and licenses granted herein, and the right and license to conduct business under the marks at your store and on the accepted location shall revert to us without further act or deed of any party. All right, title, and interest of you in, to, and under this agreement shall become our property. Payment of amounts owed to us and other liquidated damages. YT user, welcome. Bro, did you see the police footage of Ammon's dad? He called cops saying reckless Ben followers shot out his windows. And how can he freaking know that? But it was actually his own construction workers. And house it looks like. Word. Yeah, they're trying to get more contracts, trying to fix more windows, right? Charge them for the windows. But yeah, I saw it at the JBC live stream or BJC live stream, but yeah, like not really. I heard that her stream got taken down again for the second time, but yeah, I don't know. A lot of people online see this and say Mormonism is evil and mafia, etc. Has this changed your opinion on your faith? Because me personally, I think evil isn't from the religion; it's from power. Has zero change on my faith because let me explain something to you. Whatever you believe in, you're gonna have people that have had bad experiences with individuals of the things you believe in. Okay, so whether you're Catholic, Mormon, Protestant, whatever you are, there's gonna be people that like they feel so passionate about the hate they have in their heart that anytime there's a story, they want to put out all of the information they have in their brain and try to bring it down. Like I learned from my parents a long time ago when I was a kid that you don't put your faith on people, you put your faith on God, and that's it. God and his gospel. So, like I've served an LDS mission. I served it in Mandarin speaking and Haitian Creole, and English and Portuguese and Spanish. I got to meet a lot of people, had a lot of great spiritual experiences, and I met my wife through the faith. Like my friend from Hong Kong came to visit me. We met on the mission. She was awesome, and knew my wife before. And yeah, so like people could say whatever they want. It's not going to shake me up. Like they could tell me some new information and then I'll go study it. But like just because people are saying stuff, no, words don't hurt me. They don't hurt me. We are finding out from this company, BAM, how many others are out there are doing the same kinds of things, just not exposing. Yeah, look at Australia's 7-Eleven issue right now. And Polly Ackley, welcome. I think they've been scamming businesses with dad for a while, in my opinion, and think they were in process to file bank or have dad sued to take all funds and change owners again, in my opinion. You're entitled to that opinion. Oh, I already said hello to you, but you're entitled to that opinion. I don't think so. I do not think so. It's their dad, like, I'm not gonna get into all their stuff of their personal life and things I know about them, but their dad, like, definitely is completely dishonest to the law, to his own family. Like, they're very estranged. They don't talk to him, and like, he cheated on their mom. He did a bunch of stuff, and yeah, he's whatever Dan McNeff says, dude, don't even take it with a grain of salt. Do not believe it. Investigate it heavily. Yeah. Like, just whatever you believe of Matt and Ammon, look at their dad and multiply that tenfold. Okay, Nailhead 1-0 window. I live in Oregon and went to BAM a few years back. Marty Moosey, that's me. Welcome in. A few years ago, bought a Rebel's Thrawn minifig and later noticed the hairpiece was different. Ooh. It is kind of hard to see, but we were very specific on that blue hairpiece. It's the only one ever made. So it's Karma McNeff's. Yep. Spirit Warrior. And this is franchise churning. Yeah. Now, quite a few LDS members, and a lot of them condemn BAM corporate actions. Yeah, and DC is ruined. Marvel gone. Correct. So yeah, like if you guys have been following the American Fork stuff, and a lot of the supporters are of Reckless Ben, and a lot of people protesting against Bricks and Minifigs and American Fork Police Department are other Mormons. And that's the other thing. Like, not all the police officers. Hopefully, there will be some. I'll be able to do something with Echo Base Network in the future that can shed some more light. I don't think it might happen, but regardless, like, it's just a corrupt police department. It's just trash. And Sheldon the other day said that there's good people that he met in the American Fork Police Department. So that just goes to show that there's, like, doesn't matter what you're in, there's going to be good and bad people. And unfortunately, sometimes, just like the American Fork Police Department, most of them are going to be bad. It's very simple. Simple math. Simple mathematics. Revision of rights. We already read that. Payment of amounts owed to us and others liquidated damages. You must pay within 15 days after the date of termination or expiration of this agreement, or such later date as the amounts due to us are determined. The royalty fees, marketing fees, amounts owed for purchases by you from us or our affiliates, interest due on any of the foregoing, and all other amounts owed to us or our affiliates which are then unpaid. If we terminate this agreement for cause, you must pay us liquidated damages equal to the average monthly royalty fees paid by you during the 12 months immediately preceding the period, multiplied by the remaining months in the termination of this agreement. So this is like what they were trying to get me on. This is the fees. I forgot who asked in the chat, but this is the kind of fees, the $70,000 they try to put on me. Payment of amounts owed to us and other liquidated damages of what they would have made off me. But then they said, but if you you're nice, if you walk away nicely, we don't care about this money. And it's like, what? Hello, Marty Moose. Discontinuance of the use of the marks following termination or expiration. You agree that upon termination or expiration of this agreement, you will, not directly or indirectly, at any time or in any manner, except with respect to other Bricks and Minifigs stores owned and operated by you, identify yourself or any business as current or former Bricks and Minifigs stores, or as franchisee, licensee, or dealer of us or our affiliates, and not use any mark, any colorable imitation of a mark or other indicia of Bricks and Minifigs stores in any manner or for any purpose, or use for any purpose any trade name, trade or service mark, or other commercial symbol that suggests or indicates a connection or association with us or our affiliates. Deliver to us all signs, sign faces, sign cabinets, marketing material, forms, invoices, and other materials containing any mark or otherwise identifying or relating to a Bricks and Minifigs stores, and allow us, without liability to remove all these items from your store. And by the way, people, like and subscribe. Marty Moose, LDS think Native Americans are sinners that God made their skin brown and not white because they're not pure. Yeah, no, that's not what we think, bro. There. So I'll give you some context. There were church leaders. You're probably referencing Bruce R. McConkie, very intelligent man, scholar, but he used only logic and he spoke for the church, which the church got pissed at because he would just put his own ideas out there. They don't believe that. We'd never believe that. Trust me. The like there is no belief in terms of skin color of like somebody being bad or anything like that. Not to get into it, like we could probably have some other stream where we get into that stuff, but yeah, not yeah, like the whole they tried to adopt native babies back in the 70s to get power. That's not correct at all. Like we could have a full 5-hour conversation about this stuff because like look at the things that happen in Brazil and a lot more stuff will make sense. You have to study outside of your scope and you have to study like from the right sources. Because trust me, there's so much misinformation out there. There's so much misinformation. But yeah, not true, my friend. Not true. One of my favorites that is that the American Fork Police Department officer with a good moral compass put out the unredacted body cam footage. Yes, that is true. African Americans are the same way. Yeah, you're native, and so am I, my friend. So am I. I am from Brazil. I don't know if you know this. We have more Africans than anybody else in the world, especially during the Atlantic slave trade. 33% higher than the U.S. But yeah, believe in it. But yeah. But anyways, Marty, we're not here to talk about religion. We're here to point out this franchise agreement. So let's stick with the task at hand, people. Stick with it. Where were we? Deliver all signs. Take such action as may be required to cancel all fictitious or subnamed or equivalent registrations relating to your use of any mark. If we do not exercise our right to purchase your store pursuant to Section 15E, promptly remove the accepted location and discontinue using for any purpose all signs, fixtures, furniture, decor items, advertised materials, forms, and other materials and suppliers which display any of the marks or any distinctive feature, images, or designs associated with Bricks and Minifigs stores, and at your expense. Make such alterations as may be necessary to distinguish the accepted location so clearly from its former appearance as a Bricks and Minifigs store and from the Bricks and Minifigs stores as to prevent any possibility of confusion by the public. Deliver all material and supplies identified by the marks in full cases or packages to us for credit and dispose of all other materials and supplies identification by the marks within 30 days after the effective date of termination of this agreement. Boom. K&Q Visuals is here. No, you're good, man. You're good. Like, I'm always open to conversation. I just want to stay in the pocket here. Like, everybody's entitled to their opinion, you know, and you've probably studied some things and came to some conclusions. So you're good. You're good, brother. I never taken offense. And I always love to hear what's in people's heads. Land of the Shade as much as Delaware. So K&Q Reviews, I'm just here trying to distract myself from the world's pains. By the way, is your mom feeling better now? Yeah, she is. On Monday, she came back from the hospital. If you weren't here, like, I'll let people know. She went to the emergency room. That's why I ended the stream early, because I was getting a phone call by a family member, and they never call me that much during the stream. They don't know I stream, but during the stream, like, I was, like, every time I put it to silent, they just kept calling. So she was in the emergency room, high blood pressure. She needs to hit the gym. She needs to get her health in order. I'll be helping her with that. And on Monday, she got home, and my wife made her some soup. but she's all right. She's all right. Oh, Spirit Warrior. Been in the outbacks of the Amazon River a few times. Love Brazil and those people along the river. They had nothing but were happy / grateful for anything they did have. Enjoyed Brazil and people. Did you go to Manaus? Manaus is awesome. Hiding behind God and doing evil is the lowest of low. It is true. It is true. Got a non-lease renewal today and talked to my landlord. She gave me an action plan that fits with my goals. Hey, congrats, man. Congrats, my friend. Spirit Warrior, yes. So you did go to Manaus. I knew it. Yeah, man. My dad spent many days, not many months in Manaus. Like the best thing he said was like going on the river and just sleeping on top of the boat at night. 6 month to month plan extension. Sweet brother. Congratulations. Notify the telephone company and all telephone directory publishers of the termination of your right to use any telephone and telecopy numbers, and any regular classified or other telephone directory listings associated with any mark, and to authorize transfer of those rights to us, or at our direction, our designee or designee. You agree that, as between you and us, we have the right to and interest in all telephone and fax numbers and directory listings associated with any mark. You authorize us and appoint us and any of our officers as your attorney, in fact, to direct the telephone company and all telephone directory publishers to transfer any telephone and fax numbers and directory listings relating to your store to us or our designee. Should you fail or refuse to do so, and the telephone company and all telephone directory publishers may accept such direction or this agreement as conclusive of our exclusive rights in the telephone and telecopy numbers and directory listings and our authority to direct their transfer, and furnish us within 30 days after the effective date of termination with evidence satisfactory to us of your compliance with the obligation in this section. This reminds me of one of the things I noticed about Josh and Brandon sabotaging my store. They for some reason decided that they needed to change the phone number of the store and never informed Google, never informed any social media platforms, and nobody that they were changing the number of the store. So when people looked us up on Google to find us and then didn't know exactly where we were or something, they would give us a phone call, but never rang because they were calling the wrong number, the old number. It is stupid. And don't forget to like and subscribe, people. Do not forget. It was a great place for bigger cities. Stayed on a boat for 10 days, yeah, and down the river, providing medical mission along with helping set up churches, took younger kids, changed their understanding of the world. Yeah, that's awesome, man. That's so great. That's pretty cool. Spirit, what denomination? What? Yeah, they did that. Freaking sucks. They destroyed. What's it called? A lot of like they destroyed the community. That's what I was most pissed about at the time. Immediately discontinue the use of any of our proprietary software. Immediately discontinue any mode of communications on the intranet, the franchise-only websites, and intranet directly or indirectly relating to your store, including, including any authorized websites. Good Lord. Social media pages, accounts, or any other electronic media associated with your store, and immediately take all steps required by us to transfer any domain name associated with your store to us, such as signing a registrant name change agreement with applicable registrar. Good Lord. You irrevocably appoint an authorized officer of ours as your duty authorized agent and attorney, in fact, to sign all instruments and take all steps to transfer these domain names. What kind of bullcrap? And I'm the moron that signed this, so let's do it. Let's point this crap out. Immediately cease to use all confidential information and return to us all copies of the operations manual and any other confidential information which have been loaned to you. That's the key word, loaned. Immediately return to us all copies and database records of your tenant list, leases, and any other information related to such. You agree that if you fail to fulfill any of the obligations contained in the section upon termination or expiration of this agreement, we have the right, at our option, to perform these obligations at your expense. Discontinuance of use of confidential information. Post-term covenant not to compete. Marty Moosey, what is the... Oh, shoot. Not to compete. What is the petition for DC Lego? What happened? What's wrong? Is it like against James Gunn's bullcrap? Because I'll be cool with that. Yeah. Sheldon said it best. Nothing they've done surprised me anymore. Been on the rabbit hole for weeks. Yes. Yeah. Well, part 3 is going to surprise you guys. Stay tuned for that. It's definitely going to surprise you guys. Not saying I have any info. Not saying that. I'm just saying you guys are going to be surprised. You agree that no more... What? Freaking losers, no more Batmobiles. You agree that upon termination or expiration of this agreement, you will immediately cease to use any confidential information disclosed to you pursuant to this agreement in any business or otherwise, and you will return to us all copies of this operations manual. Any other confidential information which we have loaned to you. Have I seen it? No. No. I have not seen part 3. Upon termination of this agreement for any reason, you agree that for a period of 2 years or 3 years, if we purchase your store as provided below, commencing on the effective date of termination, neither you nor any of your owners, principals, members, or partners, as applicable collectively, the restricted persons will directly or indirectly own a legal beneficial interest in or render services or give advice to any competitive business operating in the territory. Any competitive business operating within a radius of 5 miles of any Bricks and Minifigs stores in operation or under construction on the effective date of termination or expiration. Any entity which grants franchises or licenses other interests to others to operate any competitive businesses, recruit or hire any persons who is an employee of ours or of any Bricks and Minifigs stores operated by us, our affiliates, or another franchisee of ours without obtaining their employer's consent, which consent may be withheld for any reason, or 5, solicit or attempt to divert elsewhere any partnership we've established as part of the system, including but not limited to technology, trade, education, retail product, or vending/supplier partners. Yeah. Is it true that Is it true that corporate employees cannot be franchise managers? If it is true, then how was Josh able to be an owner when Ammon said he was corporate? Josh was never technically an owner. He is partners with Brandon. Okay? You could be partners and not own something together. Brandon owns Eugene location. Josh works in corporate. Managers, like employees, can be franchise managers. That's how you promote them. Okay? But they have to go through a process. You have to talk to corporate first, because then they're going to be aware of the operations manual, which they like. Nobody's seen it on YouTube yet, right? It's very secretive. There's gonna be a bunch of stuff. Like if you fire them, corporate needs to be notified. If they quit, corporate also needs to be notified. But yeah, like employees can be franchise managers. Yeah. What's wrong with Polly? Sorry about your mom. I have a big tumor inside oh my gosh, and will block all blood flow of all 3 valves if it gets bigger. Already causes issues. High pressure with light daily exercise. Sunlight is best. Hey, I am so sorry that is happening to you. Do you have like any recourse? Do you are you like well funded? Are you gonna be okay? And then let me know if you have like some sort of GoFundMe, and maybe I could put it in the chat. But yeah, I'm sorry that's happened to you. Like I really hope, man, freaking cancer sucks. Tumors suck. Like I hope you're gonna be okay. Just let me know. Thanks for being here, by the way. Thank you. This contract sounds like the guy outside of the smoke shop that keeps asking me for cigarettes. Yeah, sounds like Bozo. It sounded like Josh, one of the was part of corporate and franchisee owner at the same time. If BAM store, they would be manager, not franchisor. Franchisor is corporate. Franchisor is Matt and Ammon. Okay, the owners. Franchisee is just your individual owners of the store. So I own a franchise, so then I would be labeled as a franchisee. Does that? So then, like a manager of a franchise location is just a manager. That's it. Does that clear anything up, Spirit Warrior? I can't go downtown without someone asking me if I have a cig or Cash App. Well, do you have a cig or Cash App, dude? And so that can help. Fasting helps. Yeah, I've done water fast. It helps out a lot for massive issues. Sorry, I had that backwards. How could Josh work for corporate and be a franchise owner? Because he was never a franchise owner. He was partners with Brandon. So that's how I think they got around a third party doing a inventory evaluation. That's how I think they got around it, because then Brandon would be considered a third party, because technically it would be like Josh is coming in to buy it, and then somebody else would, aka Brandon, would be the one that would be third party to do all that stuff. But yeah, you have it's like if you have tutoring, there's a tutor and 2T, same for franchising. Yeah. Hopefully that cleared that up. You expressly acknowledge that everybody like and subscribe, people. Like and subscribe. That your entity owners and other restricted persons possess skills and abilities of a general nature and have other opportunities for exploiting those skills. Consequently, enforcement of the covenants made in this section will not deprive you or any of the other restricted persons of their personal goodwill or ability to earn a living. If any covenant in this agreement which restricts competitive activity is deemed unenforceable by virtue of its scope in terms of area, business activity prohibited, and or length of time, would be enforceable by reducing any part of the covenant, you and we agree that the covenant will be enforced to the fullest extent permissible under the laws and public policies applied in the jurisdiction in which enforcement is sought. If you or any of your owners fail to refuse to abide by any of the foregoing covenants, and we obtain enforcement in a judicial proceeding, the obligations under the breached covenant will continue in effect for a period of time ending 2 years after the date of the order enforcing the covenant. Well, yo, shout out to Central Florida on the Streamlabs side. For $20 in Streamlabs, I don't have to pay YouTube. They take 30%, but I'm grateful for whatever you guys are able to do. Thank you so much. Keep it up, man. I have so many questions for you, but I never have them when I need them. Oh, did you know about Legally Mine before all this? How about LegalZoom? I heard about Legally Mine, but I didn't realize it was attached to Matt and Ammon. It was more so like I heard about the Dan McNeff stuff of Legally Mine. But yeah, so I didn't look that closely into it because it had nothing to do with Bricks and Minifigs at the time. I like how Napoleon Dynamite has skills. Jason's whack. Welcome. Don't have any good skills. Well, a judicial proceeding isn't electronically filed, so on complaint Bricks and Mini douchebags. Nunchuck skills, computer hacking skills. Yeah, nunchuck skills, computer hacking skills. Our option to purchase your assets. We shall have the right to purchase the assets of your store, which they never did. Upon termination or expiration without renewal of this agreement, we shall have the right, exercisable by giving notice thereof, appraisal notice within 10 days after the date of this termination or expiration of this agreement, to require that a determination be made of the fair market value. Your name is Superman? Ooh. Corporate is my hometown. Cool. And find below or equipment and furnishings of your store, the assets. We shall have the right to purchase your inventory at your invoice cost minus a 10% restocking fee in the inventory. And people stick around, like at the end of the stream, the last 10 minutes, whatever questions, even unrelated to the franchise agreement that you have, I will answer them. So feel free to wait around, and maybe I'll do it longer because I hate reading this bull crap. It's super annoying. So feel free to ask your questions in the chat, and I'll get around to them, especially towards the end of the stream. And we are an hour, 20 minutes in, and we'll end closer to 2 hours. But, yeah. Upon delivery of the appraisal notice, go ahead and start asking them, man, because I like to take pauses and look at the chat. Appraisal notice, you may not sell or remove any of the assets of or our inventory of your store from the accepted location, other than the ordinary course of business, and must give us, our designated agents and the appraiser, as defined below, full access to your store and all of your books and records at any time during customary business hours to conduct inventories and determine the purchase price for the assets and inventory. The fair market value of the assets shall be determined based upon the amount that an arm's length purchaser would be willing to pay for the assets, assuming that the assets would be used for the operations of a Bricks and Minifigs stores under a valid franchise agreement reflecting the then current, or if we are not offering franchises at the time, then the most recent standard terms upon which we offer or offered franchises for Bricks and Minifigs stores. Under no circumstances does this calculation contemplate any value by attributed to any goodwill associated with the marks or any value attributed to other intellectual property or the system standards, provided, however, that an amount may, if appropriate, be attributed to the going concern value of your store. You and we hereby agree that the valuation methodology described herein is a fair and reasonable method by which to value the assets. Notwithstanding the mutually agreeable valuation methodology, if you and we are unable to agree on the final calculation of the fair market value of the assets within 50 days after the appraisal notice, then fair market value will be determined by a member of a nationally recognized accounting firm. Other than a firm, they never did this, other than the firm which conduct audits of our or your financial statements, mutually selected by you and us, who has experience in the valuation of store business, the appraiser. If we are unable to agree on the appraiser within 30 days after the appraisal notice, either party may demand an appointment of an appraiser be made by the director of the regional office of the American Arbitration Association located nearest to Salt Lake City, Utah, and this person shall be the appraiser. The appraiser will make his or her determination and submit a written report, the appraiser, to you and us as soon as practicable, but in no event more than 60 days after his or her appointment. Each party may submit in writing to the appraisers its judgments of fair market value together with its reasonable therefore. However, the appraiser shall not be limited to these submissions and may make such independent investigation as he or she reasonably determines to be necessary. The appraiser fees costs shall be borne equally by the parties. we have the option exercisable by delivering notice thereof within 30 days after submission of the appraisal report for the date that that an arrangement is reached. If the parties agree to the fair market value to agree to purchase the assets at fair market value, we shall have unrestricted right to assign this option to purchase separate and apart from the remainder of this agreement. Ooh. So, okay, who said, Thug Life, you need a moderator? I do need a moderator. And do you mod for any other channels that I know of? If you guys didn't know, Jason Wax rollerblades. If you haven't, also have that on your YouTube channel. I don't have Cash App. I have Venmo. It's on my YouTube channel. So, thank you. I get by stubborn like my dad. Don't ask or want to accept help. My biggest downfall, but I'm okay. Thanks. Well, it's up to you. If I could help in any way, let me know. I'm not trying to put that on you, but like if you like, I don't know you personally, but I would love to help you in some way. Even if you just want to talk, like you can call me on Instagram. Floor Bluff to be exact. Where are you from? Okay, that you have questions. Okay, did they demand that you use their POS system, and if so, did they train you on the system? Yes, they did demand it, and they did train me on it. If the other questions are, was there layaway, was there consignment? No, there wasn't on the system, from what I could tell. Heartland, the only thing, so the POS system was Heartland. They still use it. The only annoying thing about that system was that everything had to be manually put in. Like if you put in your inventory, like you got these in, you had to individually scan all of them. They didn't have a database of like all the sets. So if you never had, let's say you take the Venator UCS set and it's your first time in your store, it's not all connected. So like somebody else's POS system, so another Bricks Minifigs, they get the UCS Venator all the time. It's not like connected where I can just use that information and be like, oh yeah, this connects to this barcode. You actually have to individually type everything in and then put it in your shipping or however you received it. And then when you put it in the inventory, you have to manually put it in again. So it was annoying. But it's an okay system. Why can't you take the assets away out of the store if you literally own it? It's your store. You bought it all. They are beggars and thieves because they usually kick you out. Like the termination letter is also like, you have to give everything up. Go away. Okay? Mine was a different situation. Luckily, I'm able to use it to help out the parties that are involved, Reckless Ben and Crystal, because I got to meet these guys and I could tell you firsthand how terrible, like Josh and Brendan are for sure. Ammon surprised me of how terrible he is, and Matt McNeff, like the jury is still kind of out. The more I talk to people who've talked to the franchisees and investigate Matt McNeff, almost all of them, like the consensus is that Matt McNeff is kind of out of the loop. That's what people tell me. But regardless, he is a culprit because he's an owner. He should be knowing all this stuff. It's incompetence if he doesn't know. But yeah, that's how they could do that. Like, yeah. Okay. Valuation doesn't matter. It's totally irrelevant. They can just fabricate fines and fees to offset any value of assets so that they can take it from you for free. Yeah. And that's exactly what they did. And it's also a scare tactic. Like, if they put out, like, this is how much we're going to fine you, but if you walk away quietly, it's all good. Again, and that's where, like, people, rightfully so, think it's franchise churning. Yeah. Yo, Libby and Best is in the chat. Welcome. So they demand you use their POS partially so that they can see what you have going on, so that they can use it against you to steal your assets or shut you down if you are successful. That is the theory, but at the same time, it makes sense. You want to have access to that stuff. You want to make sure that the numbers are correct. You need look. Here's one of the situations that got a particular franchisee owner removed. Hostile takeover. That made sense. They started using a second register for a different POS system that wouldn't register back to Bricks and Minifigs or the landlord, because there's certain agreements, there's certain lease agreements that's like, okay, let's say the lease is $10,000 a month, and maybe you don't have that money, and then you negotiate for it to be $5,000 a month, but after you make like a certain amount in sales, so let's say $35,000 in sales a month. After you hit past 35,000 sales, then a percentage will go to the landlord, right? So this particular guy, he had the second register, didn't inform corporate, didn't inform landlords. So all the money, like, he would have his employees switch to that second register halfway through the day. So then the numbers were like, oh man, they're not getting much traffic, they're not getting that much money, but they're still alive. You know, he's probably taking money out of his whatever, and then all that other money he could just keep. It's you can't see the registry of how much royalty fees, like all this stuff. So it does make sense for them to be able to see your POS system. And I don't know how deep they could see it, but yeah, they can see the numbers. But you can make a picture with a button. Can you spell exactly the American Appraiser Association or whatever you said? Can you spell it exactly the way it is written for me? What? So they used Brandon Best. And that's what they used. It's a good thing that BAM sabotaged your store, or you would have owned millions of dollars in unpaid rent. Yeah. Well, I would have paid the rent. That wouldn't have been a problem. But there's no, how can you pay a rent after you have no source of income? Yeah. Before this was all made public, my local BAM started to add scan codes to the bottom base of each and every minifig. I wonder if that came down from corporate. No. So unless, usually that happens. By the way, Elaine Martinez, welcome back. So the usually that's up to the individual store owner, the franchisee, but usually that happens when they have an online store and they want to keep track of everything. It is annoying, it's monotonous, but it's smart, right? But okay, Elaine Martinez. Yo pensando que era la única loca despierta. Glad I'm able to cat this. Tú eres la única loca. But yeah, thanks for being here. 35,000 a week is a bad week for us. What do you, Jason? Are Monster Games, Jason? Well, what do you got? Because I know a Jason that owns a game store, but I don't know if it's the same person. But what do you have? But I'm just pointing out. Okay. Or just zoom in on this paragraph of that agreement. They have access to your bank account, so it's easy for them to pounce when they know when you're vulnerable with a lot of products and low funds. No, they had access to Crystal's bank account. They didn't have access to mine. They should not have any access to your bank account. They should just have access to numbers. That, like, Crystal's situation, it's weird because they never gave her full access to her own bank account. You know? So, yeah. Yeah, I would never allow them to have access to my bank account. Are you freaking insane? Like, they're not your business partners. Unless it's a business partner, then there's no reason for them to have access to your bank account. If we exercise our let's get back to it, everybody. And feel free to keep asking more questions. If we exercise our option to purchase, the purchase price for the assets and the inventory will be paid in cash at the closing, which will occur at the place, time, and date we designate, but not later than 60 days after the exercise of our option to purchase the assets and inventory. Everybody, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hype. Hype up the... After you like, hype it up. Apparently, that's a really good thing. I don't know how it works, but whatever. At the closing, we will be entitled to all representations, warranties, title, insurance policies, and other closing documents and post-closing indemnifications as we reasonably require, including instruments transferring good and marketable title to the assets and inventory, free and clear of liens, encumbrances, and liabilities to us or our designee, with all sales and other transfer taxes paid by you, and an assignment of all leases or assets used in the operations of your store, including land, building, and or equipment, or if an assignment is prohibited or sublease to us or designee for the full remaining term and on the same terms and conditions as you lease, including renewal and or purchase options, provided, however, that if any of your owners or affiliates directly or indirectly owns the land, building, and or equipment of your store, you will, at our option, cause the owner or affiliates to grant to us a lease at reasonable and customary rental rates and other terms prevailing in the community where your store is located. Any dispute concerning the rental rates and terms of this lease shall be resolved by the appraiser. Dude, you can't compare Hooters to a very niche market. Oh my gosh. I work for Hooters. Nice tits, Jason. Da-da-da. So, Marty's leaving? Thanks for the information. Last relic. I hope everyone has a great evening. Like and subscribe. My man. Thank you. Thank you for coming by. We can always talk. Be here for the next stream. Be here for the videos. Thank you. Hopefully I can make good enough videos to keep you here. What exactly is hyping it up? Apparently hyping it up is like letting the algorithm know that like this video should be known. From what I was told. I don't know. Hype up 3 until the live ends, and then you can hype it as a video. No, maybe it's just my settings. I did it the other day. Somebody else's. Whatever. Our affiliates. Upon delivery of the appraisal, noticing, and pending 1. Determination of fair market value, our option period, and the closing of the purchase, we may authorize continued temporary operations of your store pursuant to the terms of this agreement, subject to the supervision and control of 1 or more of our appointed managers. Continuing obligations, all obligation of us and you, which expressly or by their nature survive the termination of this agreement, will continue in full force and effect subsequent to notwithstanding termination and until they are satisfied in full or by their nature expire. So AFL, what do you find so funny, dude? Was it the tits? Yeah. Hype thing is new. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It's upon appraisal, supervision, control, one more important managers, blah blah. Continue obligations, all obligations of us and you, which expressly or by their nature survive the termination of this agreement, will continue full force and effect. Did I already read this? Subsequent and notwithstanding, and until they are satisfied in full by their nature expire. Kevin's. I think hypes are only on mobile devices. Yep, they are. Relationship of parties / indemnification. By the way, I'll tell you something about Hooters. Great wings. Great fried wings. Phenomenal. Dependent contractors. Franchisor and franchisee acknowledge and agree that the relationship created under the agreement is that of an independent contractors. Neither this agreement nor the dealings of the parties pursuant to this agreement shall create any fiduciary relationship of the relationship of principal and agent or employer and employee between the parties, and in no circumstance shall either party, their offers, directors, agents, employees, salespeople, or similar persons be considered the agents or employees of the party. You understand and agree that you may operate and change the system and our business in any manner that is not expressly and specifically prohibited by this agreement. Whenever we have expressly reserved in this agreement or are deemed to have a right and or discretion to take or withhold an action, or to grant or decline to grant you a right to take or withhold an action, except as otherwise expressly and specifically provided in this agreement, that we make our decision or exercise our rights and our discretion on the basis of our judgment of what is in our best interest, including our judgment of what is in the best interest of our franchise networks at the time our decision is made, or our right or discretion is exercised, without regard to whether, one, other freaking reasonable alternative decisions or actions could have been made by us, two, our decision or the action we take promotes our financial or other individual interest, three, our decision or the action we take applies differently to you and one or more other franchises, or our company owned or company affiliated operations, or our decision or the exercise of our right or discretion is adverse to your interest. In the absence of an applicable statute, we will have no liability to you for any such decision or action. We and you intend that the exercise of our right or discretion will not be subject to limitation or review. If applicable, law implies a covenant of good faith and fair dealing in this agreement, and we and you agree that this covenant shall not imply any rights or obligations that are inconsistent with a fair construction of the terms of this agreement. This agreement grants you us the right to make decisions, take actions, and are refrain from taking actions not inconsistent with your rights and obligations here under. It was a tits comment. Sick. That's how I know I'm old. I'm like, isn't this 90s terminology? Yes. Hooters. Great half price steam shrimp back in the day. Don't know if they do that anymore. Go to Hooters, bro. My wife joined me, so it was all legal. I've never actually eaten at Hooters. I've just ordered from there. I've actually ordered from Hooters for the store, for all the employees at the store. Bro, you have a good reading voice. It's funny how we can tell you hate reading, though. I love reading. I just don't like reading legal bullcrap. Like, there was one stream I was reading Heir to the Empire because I was just like, I don't want to stream about, but I want to read this book. Might as well turn on the camera. It's, yeah. But thank you. I used to be pretty good at, like, changing my voice and stuff. I haven't practiced it in a while because I wanted to be, like, there was one point I really wanted to, like, do, like, how do I put it? Voices for, like, reading, what's it called? A book, reading a live book or whatever. Man, I have to tell you guys some stories of freaking at the store. So I had this I won't say their names. One of them was in the chat the other day. So I had this one employee, this black little gay kid, super funny. But in the beginning, he was so awkward. He was short, okay? And he, like, always stood up like this and would do this, like, super funny guy. People would be looking at a set and he'd go, like, right up behind them. And they'd be talking about, you know, Harry Potter, and he'd just say it, like, practically in their ear, like, that's a great set. And since he's short, freaked people out. And I'm like, dude, brother, you can't do that. And he's like, what? I'm like, what? It's not a problem. I'm like, I'm not doing that. And I'm like, dude, you're freaking people out. And he always thought, like, his customer service was, like, top tier. And I loved working with him. He was hilarious. Yeah. And then Oh man, if Dom is in the chat, we got like I'll have you on so we could tell some stories. If you guys look at some of my the earliest live streams, we had it at the store and we had some of the employees. It was it was hilarious. I had really great employees, but yeah, um, freak people out every once in a while. And Don, like we all he's a lovely teddy bear, but like when you first meet him, you know he's this big old 6'2" black dude, had dreads, and he just be over people. He's like, "How can I help you?" And I'm like, "Dude, don't like reach your arms out like you're gonna grab them." So funny. I love it when gay dudes are obviously gay. It makes it not weird because you don't have to awkwardly try to figure out. No, and he was like a cool dude. Like he was a dude. He just happened to like man booty. You know, like I don't care what you do. If you're cool and like you're not sensitive over words, we can hang. That's it. Simple. And dude, that guy was not sensitive, I gotta tell you. He liked the big old boys too. As long as they thick and dense like a loaf of bread. He liked them. B. Indemnification. You must indemnify us, our affiliates and respective directors, officers, employees, shareholders, member agents, successors, and assign collectively indemnities, and to hold the indemnities harmless to the fullest extent permitted by law from any and all losses and expenses as defined below, incurred in connection with any litigation or other form of adjudicatory procedure, claim, demand, investigation, or formal or informal inquiry, regardless of whether it is reduced to judgment, or any settlement thereof which arises directly or indirectly from, or as a result of, or claim of a third party against any one or more of the indemnities in connection with the development, ownership, operations, or closing of any of your Bricks and Minifigs stores, collectively event, and regardless of whether it has resulted from any strict or vicarious liability imposed by law on the indemnities, provided, however, that the indemnity will not apply to any liability arising from breach of this agreement by the indemnities of the gross negligence, willful misconduct, strict liability, or fraud of indemnities, unless joint liability is involved, in which events the indemnification provided herein will extend to any finding or comparative or contributory negligence attributable to you. A loaf of bread. Oh, yo! Colin, hey, brother, hope you're doing well. I actually got invited onto ACOB tonight. Live streaming is hard, man. Yeah, dude, awesome. ACOB, like, did some great work. And yes, but now it's time for the Q&A sequence. Go ahead and ask your questions because I'm not reading any more for the rest of the night. Thank you, everybody, for coming here. I think we had consecutive, like, 80 people at a time at one time, so I appreciate that. I'll tell you, like, I also, honestly, I appreciate the compliment of the voice because when me and my brother, I have an older brother, his name is Vladimir, and me and my older brother, we got bullied a lot at one point, especially right after 9/11. It's all gonna make sense. I'm drenched in sweat. Ooh boy, is it because you worked out or you did something sensual? But okay. All right, Nick. Uh so like he I got like curb stomped and jumped or whatever. Like it not nothing crazy. I never lost any teeth, which is a good thing. I didn't know like when somebody puts your jaw on a curb and smashes the back of your head that like it could like destroy everything. Luckily they didn't stomp the back of my head that hard. And then me and my brother, we were always thinking like, man, we got to figure out a way to get rid of any accent when we speak English, so that like people can't figure out that we're Brazilian, because we had a little sister and then later on another little sister. And like at age 11, he went to junior high, and that's when he really started getting like heavily bullied. Like he was getting stabbed like on a daily basis. Like I don't know how many times he got stabbed. It was nuts. I only got stabbed once, but it was like you, I wouldn't even consider it a stabbing because it wasn't a knife. Like this kid made like this really sharp. I think it was like it looked like a toothbrush, but it was like, I don't know. He pierced my side, bled a little bit, and it was fine. But like it was one thing that we were always trying to figure out on how to speak very clearly. So we would enunciate a lot when we read, and we read scriptures. We read the Bible, we read the Book of Mormon. We would read like books like Lord of the Rings. So anything with some old English and that was entertaining to us, we would really pronounce and enunciate. So, like, I thank you for the compliment of of like having a good voice. I hope I could hide or my English sounds authentic. And I know like in Brazil, like Portuguese in Brazil, we speak like this up and down because we have a lot of passion, a lot of emotion. So that does translate a little bit to my English, where people could tell that I'm not a native English speaker. Stab, where the F did you guys grow up? Kearns, Utah, West Valley. We were over there. Funny thing about Utah, a lot of Bloods and Crips are in Utah. A lot of skinheads too. Like if you go to the west side of Utah, massive gangs of Bloods and Crips. There's shootings a lot. And then if you go more south, closer to like South Jordan, but more towards the mountain, you did get that like had like trailer parks and stuff. You got like some skinheads. Yeah, there was always issues on that side of Utah, but yeah, there's always crazy stuff, but it's life. Like, just don't. I remember when we got to the U.S., I started going to school. My dad pulled me aside. Right, I was 5 years old, kindergarten, and then he looked me in the eye. He's like, "Look, this is how you tell if someone's gonna kill you. When they have a gun to your face, don't look at them in the eye. Look at them, like look down. But if you happen to look at them in the eye, you're gonna know if they're gonna kill you or not. So you have to act. Like you could feel it." And because of the way he grew up, right? And I looked at him like, okay. And my mom just looked at him like, we're in America now. We're fine. And he's like, so what? People are still people. And then that was like the first speech he gave to me going to school here in the U.S. Fun times. There is an active law. Okay, on ACOB, I shared another store that was hostile taken over in Canby, Oregon. Man, they love Oregon in 2024. I have some stuff I can update you on. I think I was able to tell a compelling reason to believe in churning at BAM. There is an active lawsuit. Ooh. You can't hide your disdain for reading contracts, but your English is as fluent as it gets. Thank you, brother. Who's the final boss in the Lego scandal? American Fort Police Department, Emmett, Josh, or Dan? I could tell you it's not Dan. Dan is a casualty of war. It's gonna have to be Josh and Ammon, and it's more of like the American Fork Police Department. It's like the cherry on top. And Reckless Ben took down a police department just by being an honest person, just by following the law. In the way that he was doing things, but like yeah, it's the American Fork the police department is just like a nice thing that happened that we got to find a corrupt organization and bring them down and highlight their corruption, because they have multiple active lawsuits from the past 6 years, and a lot of the cam footage has come out. It's on YouTube. But yeah, but anything, what other questions you guys got? We got around 6 minutes. All right. Before the stream ends, don't forget to like. All right. I will put the if anyone, it's on the description, but I'll put it in the chat. If anybody wants to donate to Streamlabs or Super Chat, you guys are welcome to. If not, you guys are also welcome to just stay and hang out, speak nonsense, or ask me questions. I lived in yellow national team in my yellow national team, Ronaldinho jersey, for most of my childhood. Heck yes. You hated the U.S. team? Ooh. Okay, and how many people have lost loved ones to malpractice and got no reparations on his dollar? It would be quite a bit. Are you talking about Dan? Is that who you're talking about? Okay, let's total AFO. Because of Lego's silence on this matter and their continuing contract with BAM, I have all but lost my passion for the hobby. What's your take on that? First, they don't have to say anything. Okay. I'm I'm more pissed at the Lego YouTubers, the big ones, that they're not highlighting this. So all Lego really needs to do if they want to make a statement is being like, we are like, it's sad that this is going on, that there's some negativity surrounded this by the product that we've created and loved. Lego is made for creativity and coming together and for children's and people of all ages, and that's what it's about. And then like put a nice little positive statement, right? Lego has made some statements that's an active sort of a statement that like they're not affiliated with Bricks and Minifigs, and because it's an ongoing um, legal issue, they understand the legal side of things. So I think it's smart that they're not saying anything. But before any of this, like Lego doesn't have integrity. We know that. Like look at the sets they put out. Like I don't care if you're for uh, LGBTQIA plus like supporter. Like Lego said that they'll never do adult themes, and then they put out Queer Eye, a Queer Eye theme. That like they'll do like the whole rainbow thing for Pride Month. Like they'll do a lot of things if it makes money. Oh, we're not for war, but then they're about to go bankrupt. They partner with Star Wars. We're not gonna do tanks. There's literally the word tank in their their what's it called, in their sets, in the Star Wars sets. Then they said like, well, we're not gonna do anything related to real life war. We're gonna keep it fantasy. And then they went to Indiana Jones and they got literal Nazi minifigures and World War II planes. Like, you know what I mean? They don't have a sense of morality and integrity. They're big business. Again, I don't think they really need to put out any statement. I still love Lego. I still love what it brings, what I can do with it, with my kids and everything, and the collection. But I don't think they really need to do much. That's my take on it. Dan, yes, yeah, Dan sucks. Can you sneak me into the Batcave or the Justice League headquarters? Yes, I can. Yes, I can. On a reporter salary, though, it's kind of difficult. You watching the World Cup? Who do you think will take it all? I believe. Okay, I didn't watch today's game. It was Croatia against Portugal, right? Croatia had a pretty good chance. Portugal can take it, I think, if they win against Croatia. I'm having a little bit more faith in Brazil. That first game, I didn't think they would win. My hope is Brazil. Let's see. Germany's out. Who's still in? Mexico would be awesome if they won, but I don't think they have the chops right now. I don't think this year is their year, but it would be nice. Like to me, it'd probably be Portugal's a logical part for me. I hate I hate the France team. I don't want them to win. Croatia, they're going against today, so whoever won that one, so it's either Croatia or Portugal. Brazil is my go-to, and then yeah, I don't know who's next, but yeah, okay. AFK Anthem, what's up? You mentioned that you believed their father was worse than Ammon and Matt. Do you know anything specific? I know a lot of things specific, but I've stated before I can't. Not that I can't. I don't think any of the information I know would help um, Reckless Ben or add assistance to the story other than our collective hate to that person. But yeah, exactly. Lego's best move is to stay silent until everything unravels in court. Then they have every right to make a move. The revenge clause, buddy. The devil himself isn't that dirty. Ah, the devil's getting you. After this stream, go to a channel called Jack and Dad. It's an autistic kid who sings like an angel while building Legos. It's amazing to watch. That's awesome. Mexico, Portugal all day. Mexico, hey, yeah. Hell yeah, Mexico. All right. I don't know if he's worse. I haven't decided. I talked to people who personally were friends with him and knew him personally. But it'll be a tough road. It would be a tough road, yeah. Everyone hates France. I'll give you this. The France World Cup gave us in 1998 or 96? 98 or 96. Gave us the best World Cup song by Ricky Martin, The Cup of Life. Still the best World Cup song ever. Okay. I'm Mexican American, 75% bilingual. Found out I had an accent on some words. Chicago, something funny. But you make the perfect live streamer, eloquent, zero stutter, honest answers, even if it benefits BAM. And it won't. You're pulling for Iran? You might lose your social on that one. Pulling for Iran. All right, guys. StreamYard's about to kick me out. But I think in the future, if I'm doing well, I'll start paying for it. And I like doing like 8-hour streams. But yeah. Thanks for everybody participating. Maybe the next stream, I will do a really long stream just to read throughout the entire contract. Just get it over with. Yes, dude, yes. I can picture my homie Brad doing the Ricky Martin dance to that song and seeing it. His eyes closed. Mexico booed the American flag of the World Cup. That's not cool. Not to get the political, but this Mex-Am is all American. Yeah, that's not. I don't care what country you hate. You have to respect that country for at least putting their music out there and all that stuff. Then you can hate them later. But I love America. It's a great country. All right, guys. Nick from Echo Base Network in the chat. Say hi to the people. All right, everybody. Have a good night. This stream is over. Love you guys. Thanks for staying here. I'll probably catch you guys tomorrow on the stream if you need a mod. Thank you. Peace.